and welcome back. Today in this video, I'm talking about how I run my online art shop. I asked you guys on Instagram if you had any questions or curiosities, and to my surprise, I got a good amount of questions, all hitting a bunch of really important topics, from where I get my supplies, how to sell art when you have a small follower base, which e-commerce websites are the best to use, how to calculate the price of a product, mistakes I've made along the way, do you need a business permit? Today, I'll be answering all of those questions and more. I meticulously timestamped this video, so feel free to jump to the portion of the video that interests you most. Before we get into all of this, I'm going to give a brief intro so you can get a little background information about me, who I am, what I sell. So I am 23 years old. I recently graduated from college during the pandemic. Long story short, I was on TikTok in around May, and I was seeing a lot of artists make really cute Animal Crossing clay items. So I started thinking, and then I made like an Animal Crossing pin, and that TikTok went semi-viral, and then people in the comments started asking me, ooh, where can I buy one? And then I started thinking, I was like, oh, I can make money from this. My entrepreneurial spirit was ignited, and then I started selling them on Etsy. From there, I started posting on Instagram. I started getting into illustration, into the world of studio vloggers, people my age making a living from art and design and social media. So I really started to think, and from there I've been on this journey to try to become self-employed. My dream is to have my own ceramics practice one day, but right now that's not accessible to me, so for now I'm just working with polymer clay. I like to make other kinds of clay pins. I've been making pet pins and magnets for people on Etsy, as well as prints and stickers, and recently I started making earrings, which I really enjoy because I can make my own designs and I enjoy the assembly part of making the earrings. To date, on all of my websites combined, so I've tried out Etsy, Big Cartel, and Squarespace, more on this later, I made around $2,000. Nobody asked how much I made, but I just thought I'd put it out there. This is without subtracting hefty shipping costs, supply materials, website fees. So there's a lot of costs that come with it. So this is without subtracting the costs. It is definitely not a salary because this is cumulative from about 6 months. And it's not something you can live off of, especially with New York City rent. But it's a fun side hustle that I enjoy doing. So for the first section, we're gonna talk about all things selling and making money. This question comes from my friend Cameron. Hello. If you don't follow Cameron, here is a little shout out. Please check out Cameron's Instagram. She is a wonderful artist. Cameron asks, what website do you recommend and don't recommend? I want to sell prints. So for prints, I use the website imprint.com. It's a website that handles all the printing and shipping for you. So you upload your work, you price it how you want to price it, and people can just buy it through there, and you get paid through their system. I like this because I don't have a fancy printer at home, and I've purchased an example from Imprint before just to test out the quality, and I thought it was a pretty high quality. It's on that nice watercolor giclée paper. I also like this option better than websites like Redbubble and Society6, because honestly, I think those websites are a huge ripoff to artists. I think the cut you get is like 30 cents or $1 per product you sell to them. I just think the profit margin is way too low for artists, and I just don't think that's worth it. I think Imprint is a great alternative because not only do they take care of all the shipping and the production of the print, you can set your own price to something that you feel is fair to yourself. So if you want to sell something other than prints and you want to take care of it all on your own, there are a wide range of websites that you can look at. There's Big Cartel, Shopify, Etsy, Store Envy, Squarespace. There's just so many options. I can only speak to the websites I've used. So I've used Big Cartel, Etsy, and Squarespace. I started on Big Cartel. I like Big Cartel because they have a few different themes you can choose from. So unlike Etsy, it's not a marketplace, it's your own website. And I feel like that adds a touch of professionalism. And they have a tiered payment system. So the free version, you can post, I think, 5 products, but each product can only have 1 photo, which is kind of limiting. And you can only post like 5 products max. The next tier is, I think, $10 a month, but you can post a bunch of product photos. You can max out like 50 listings. I like that it looks nice and professional. You get control of what your store looks like, and it's easy to use. But I switched to Etsy because I kind of just wanted to see what it was like to be on a different platform. Etsy is different because it is a marketplace as opposed to all the traffic from your store coming from you and you pushing like your Instagram audience and your friends towards your store. Etsy will do some of the groundwork and push other people towards your store too. So you're not doing all of that marketing work. So I switched to Etsy because I wanted to see if this really worked. Like Etsy claims that they'll push people to you and they'll market for you and advertise your products on other websites for you. And you can pay like $1 and they'll do more of that advertising stuff. I don't know if that really worked. I have this statistic I'll show here. It says I put 50% of the traffic and Etsy does the other 50%. And I think it worked. I think occasionally for my pet pins, I'll get folks who I don't know and who don't know me and just found my Etsy through the search engine. So I think it does work. What I do like about Etsy is how Etsy will do a lot of things for you. So one, my most favorite thing is that they remit and collect sales tax for you. Taxes scare me so much. The fact that Etsy does it for me is really comforting. They also have customer service perks. So if you bought something from Etsy before, you'll notice you'll get like an email once you purchase it. You'll get an email once your order is packed and shipped. On your shop landing page, you can see everybody's reviews. As a customer, I like to see other people's reviews before I buy something. But aside from these perks, Etsy's fees are a bit higher. It doesn't cost anything to use Etsy, but every time you want to list a product, you have to pay 20 cents. And every time you sell a product, I think it's another 20 cents plus all these other payment fees. It's hard to measure whether one option is cheaper than the other, because if you sell a really large amount of products it might be more worth it on one platform versus the other. Then there's a couple websites I'll link below that will help you add up which one's more worth it. I also liked that Etsy, because it's like a well-known platform and people know Etsy, I feel like that gave me a bit of more reputability, but I think that's subjective. So after I was on Etsy, I recently in the beginning of December decided to move to Squarespace. I purchased a Squarespace plan for my own personal portfolio. And I was so excited to have everything on there. I was so excited to have my own website and shop on the same page. But I found out that Squarespace does not collect or remit sales tax for you. You actually have to like individually go into their like settings and type in rate of sales tax for every single county and state. And I simply did not want to do that. It probably was irrational. I don't think it was that big of a deal, but I was like, peace, I'm going back to Etsy. But I did like Squarespace. Like Big Cartel, you can have your own platform, so you kind of have that independence about what it looks like. I know another option for people, especially like really popular illustrators online, is Shopify. I think it's a very powerful platform. I only looked into a little because I clicked on the pricing plan. I saw those monthly rates and I was like, ooh, no. I didn't find it was worth it for me. But if you have a lot of customers and can make that work, I think it is a powerful platform that a lot of people choose to use. How do you sell your work with a small follower base? When you have 80,000 people following you, it's easier to sell things because your exposure is already really large. So odds are within that group of 80,000 people, 100 or plus people are probably going to be willing to buy a sticker or something from you. But when you have much less, it's much harder to sell stuff. I don't think that should stop you. So when I say market to the audience at your disposal, I mean, for example, try posting a TikTok. I posted a TikTok of me making the pin, and then suddenly there were a bunch of people in the comments saying, ooh, I love this, where can I get one? I put my Etsy link in my TikTok bio, and that allowed a lot of people to go visit my store. Try making a TikTok of you wearing your product or with some nice lighting or aesthetic sounds. A lot of the times audios go trending on TikTok. Sometimes there's even like small business audios that people use, like small business check, show your most favorite product. So just maybe try using one of those. The algorithm feels like a lottery. Like you can just post one and see if it does well, see if it catches on. And if it doesn't, like try again. Odds are someone's gonna see it and become interested in it. I think the benefit of TikTok is that you can reach a lot of people even if they're not following you because of just how the app is structured and the For You page. A lot of my sales were all coming from TikTok, and I know a lot of other small business owners have found success from marketing on TikTok. If you have an Instagram, even with a small follower base, still try to market and sell your work. Odds are someone will buy it. Just think like 200 to 100 is still a lot of people. Obviously, don't hound your audience all the time and constantly to buy your product because they might get a bit fatigued. But I also think like don't be afraid to advertise once in a while and put yourself out there. I think personally with friends and family, I was super embarrassed. Like I still am to this day. I want to be like, oh no, like I don't like to tell people this is what I do. I like to keep it a secret. But at the end of the day, like I am making money and I do think the stuff I make is really cute and cool. So I think we have to be like, as artists and makers and like crafters, we have to be less ashamed of the work we do because it's still very valuable and it's still interesting. So maybe try to sell maybe on your personal Instagram or your Facebook or even something like that. Like, try to put yourself out there. Odds are someone will say, oh, that's super cute, and they would love to support you. And it's always like a spiral effect. So if you include your business card or just try having a little note with them in the package, you can say, you know, I'm just starting out. I'd love, if possible, you could share this with your friends and family, or, you know, post a picture of it, tag me on Instagram, you know, to try to get your name out there. And I think exposure is one of the biggest driver of sales, because if no one's seeing your product, they don't know it exists. So exposure is everything, but it's about making the most of the exposure you can attain right now. I think good product photos with nice, clean, even lighting are also really important for driving sales. Another question is, how did you start and when did you start seeing traffic on your Etsy? So like I said before, I started on TikTok selling Animal Crossing pins. I don't think my growth wasn't like an uphill trend or an increasing trend. Like I said, I started seeing traffic because of my TikToks that were posting, but since then I haven't been really marketing myself on TikTok as much, and I've been using Instagram to sell my earrings to a smaller, more niche audience. And my sales haven't been skyrocketing, but it's still kind of up and down with the holidays and just random periods. So if you're not making a ton of money all at once and you're not kind of increasing linearly, I wouldn't feel bad about that. Another person asked, where should a young artist start? I want to open my own Etsy store, but I'm 17. I did some research for you, and Big Cartel allows people who are 13 to 17 to use their platform, and you just need your parents to sign and review a form for you. And then you can start selling on Etsy once you turn 18 if you want to try out Etsy. The next category we're going to talk about is pricing and shipping. How do you calculate the price of a product? This is super, super tricky because, to be honest, I still don't think I'm pricing my work fairly. Oftentimes, I think a good way is to price yourself at an hourly rate. So hopefully pick a rate that's above minimum wage and then multiply it by the time it takes you to make one product, and maybe add on the cost of supplies. This is hard with handmade items because it takes so long to make handmade goods sometimes, and if something took me like 4 hours to make, I priced myself kind of low, like $20 an hour times 4 plus around $10 for supplies. That's like $90 for an item. And oftentimes, like, I know my audience, a lot of the people that purchase from me are, you know, similar age to me. They're kind of starting out in their careers. Not everyone has like $90 to throw. But on the flip side, I also see so many artists really undervaluing their work in the beginning, myself included. I've seen folks sell clay pins for like $8, and I think that's just really, really low. So it's hard to find the balance between not wanting to undervalue your work and also setting the price as something that's affordable for your audience. So personally, I try to ballpark a price that I feel comfortable with. So for example, for a pair of earrings, like the ones I'm wearing right now, I sell them at about $30. So that's around $20 an hour without calculating supplies. And I spend about an hour and a half on them. So in the future, I would like to raise that price because I want to pay myself more. But now I think 30 is a good price that I'm personally comfortable with. And I think it's affordable for the people that follow me. Especially if you're making handmade items, please, please, please don't be afraid to charge more. You spent a long time on it and your efforts and expertise are valuable. One of my favorite creators, Knives Meow on YouTube and Instagram, she was saying how people will pay like $50 plus for an Urban Outfitters t-shirt. So I think individuals will also respect when artists want to price their work similarly, especially when it's a handmade item. Lastly, it is totally okay to change your prices later on and raise them. Most of the time, people want to support your work and will support you and respect your price. And if they think it's too high, they don't have to buy it. Another great question is, what were some mistakes you made along the way and what didn't work? I put this in the pricing and shipping section because I feel like that's where I made a lot of my mistakes, or let's call them growth moments. The biggest one, I was not paying myself enough. I was selling my pins for like $13 with free shipping. So I was basically covering the shipping myself and profiting around $8 for something that would take me so long to make. It was just not cute. Another thing I did as a mistake was listing shipping costs as free. So Etsy will really, really reward you for advertising free shipping. I'll insert some of these things here. It's like they really want you to offer free shipping. But the thing is, shipping is never free. Psychologically, we're like, oh my God, sweet deal. But when we see free shipping, the cost is almost always taken up by somebody else, whether that's the customer, the artist, or in Amazon's case, the workers. So for example, how does this work? Say my earrings, I want to profit $30 from them. I'll price them at $35, say free shipping, and the customer will say, oh great, free shipping is a sweet deal, but it's not actually free shipping because I'm not being transparent to my customer and making them cover the shipping costs. On my end, I was offering free shipping and thinking, oh well, I'll just cover the cost myself, but I was only profiting $8 from something I spent ages on. So nowadays, I kind of ignore all the Etsy pop-ups and state very clearly, my shipping costs are a flat rate of $5, which covers the USPS fee and the cost of the mailer. Someone asked, how do you deal with posting prices? I think they mean like mailing prices. I use the website goshippo.com. It's kind of similar to platforms like stamps.com, but you don't have to pay like a membership subscription rate. You kind of just pay as you go, which I really like. I do like USPS first class mail, which is like the cheapest option, and it takes 3 to 5 days for things to ship. And oftentimes, because I'm only shipping domestically in the United States, my pricing is about like $4 max to ship like a little item, like a clay pin or something. And then I add on $1 for the cost of my mailing supplies. The next question is supplies and organization. They ask, where do you get cheap supplies? I get my supplies from local craft stores, so try to do curbside pickup options if that's available to you, because that's a great way to social distance and not put anybody in the store at risk. I think buying locally is always a really good idea, and that is better for the environment too. If you can't find what you want at your local craft store, I also buy art supplies on Etsy. So someone asked, how do you organize your items and how do you store your clay pins without taking up your living space? I'll show a B-roll here, but I have a shelf from IKEA. I also have this cart, which is from IKEA. I have this Muji desk organizer on my desk. I really need to organize this better. It's kind of chaotic and I definitely need a better organization system, but my pins don't really take up my living space. I tuck stuff away in boxes, and because my business is quite small, I only ship out a handful of orders every week. I don't really have that issue of it taking up my home studio. The next section is running the store. So how do you plan shop launches, budget ideas, shipping, etc.? I don't. Okay, no, I do. It's just not very serious. I don't really plan things out in a very detailed manner. Again, I don't have a huge follower base, so I try to keep that in mind and how much I can realistically sell per week or per month. I think in the beginning, I was really influenced by more popular artists who would get a really high volume of orders and think I had to emulate that in order to be successful and make a bunch of things at once and order a bunch of stickers and washi tapes and prints and just all these things. But realistically, that doesn't really work for me, and oftentimes if I do order prints, they don't sell out, and sometimes that does result in a loss. So lately what I've been doing is making around 5 to 6 pairs of earrings in like mini drops. And I'll occasionally order some prints, so with each update it's a drop of some select handmade items. And it's also great because I don't end up tiring myself out making an insane amount of things, and I can spend time on designs that I really like. Someone asked, what are the most difficult aspects of running the shop? Being your own boss and drawing lines between hobby and working can get confusing. Like, I do recognize like it's extremely privileged and I'm really lucky that I can make money from my hobby. But I think once something becomes work, a lot of the playfulness and joy comes to get kind of sucked out of your hobby. So I used to love making clay pins for fun, and I still like making clay pins, but I think after making, you know, hundreds and hundreds of them, it just doesn't have the same, it doesn't really do it for me anymore. But it's okay to evolve and change, and now I'm making earrings and I really do like that. When you make the art a business, it does become hard to draw that line. The next section is business, legal, tax, stuff, etc. AKA things I do not know about. Someone asked, do I need to get a business permit or a business license? This is a really great question. I looked it up because I was like, oh, I don't know that. I'm really not versed on this at all. Taxes and legal stuff terrify me. This is really funny because I've been accepted to some law schools and I might go in a few months. I'd advise you to do your own research and go to your state's government website, because each state and local county have different regulations based on what qualifies as a business and what licenses you need to get. So go onto that website, and New York has like a checklist you can do and they'll tell you what forms you need to get. And oftentimes, if you're really curious, sometimes a call to that county office or department, someone could help you out. So yeah, I just recommend doing your own research on that. I'm really sorry I don't have a clear answer for you. I'm also trying to figure that out. The last section is challenges, reflections, and general advice. I'm so thirsty. I'm not used to talking this much. This is the same question as before, but I'm just putting it in this section because there's some more stuff I want to talk about. They asked, what were mistakes you made along the way and what didn't work? Something I thought I had to do was push out orders much faster than I needed to. So in the beginning, when I started getting my Etsy orders, I would push them out in like 2 days. And for a handmade item, that is very fast. And even my customers would leave reviews like, wow, this got here really quickly. And now I realize, you know, I'm not a robot and it takes time to create these things. And I also realized, like, if I were to buy a handmade item from an artist I want to support, I would not get upset if my order didn't come in like a week. Or if someone said, okay, it's gonna take me 2 weeks to make this, I'd be like, yeah, take your time, it's okay. I find that the people that buy from my store also have that mindset, and I'm just really hard on myself when I don't have to be. So nowadays, I take about 2 weeks to make a pin, 2 to 3 weeks even, and I put that in my description and let people know that that is the case. Another mistake was not taking enough breaks, especially when you're working with really detailed work like painting pins. Something I noticed is that I already like slouch. I have a really bad posture, so like I would be slouching and working on my pins and all hunched over, and it just would make my upper back hurt so much. And yeah, I just wasn't taking enough breaks and being kind to myself and my body. So another person asked, do you experience pressure to post your art consistently? Yes. I feel like people on Instagram talk a lot about the algorithm, because one, it sucks, and Instagram is designed so poorly these days. The reality of the situation is that social media really is important, especially as illustrators. So I do experience that pressure, especially when this algorithm clearly will reward you for posting very frequently and having a high volume of work. But I'm trying to repeatedly tell myself that oftentimes artwork doesn't work like that, and I don't work like that, and sometimes I want to take longer on a piece, and it's okay to take breaks. And producing that much work in such a short time frame oftentimes doesn't create the most high quality things that we're proud of. So yeah, I want to start taking more time and being more patient with myself. Someone else asks, any general advice I have for artists trying to start and run a business would be super helpful. Thank you so much. It actually means a lot that people trust me to ask me questions. I feel highly unqualified making this video, but if I were to have some advice, I would say don't feel like you have to make something a certain type of way. It's okay to literally make one item and try to sell that one item on the channels you have and then grow from there. And honestly, it's okay to not make the art a business at all. But yeah, pick something that makes sense for you to sell and that you actually want to spend time making. I think if you hate working on little details for hours on end, maybe handmade items really isn't for you. Maybe you should invest in a Cricut machine and sell stickers instead. Don't be afraid to just pick something that you want to sell. I think for me especially, because I'm on Instagram a lot and looking at other artists and engaging with them, I'm kind of seeing this model for what successful artists look like. And I want to be successful, so I feel the need to kind of copy them and kind of do that same model. But I'm also telling myself, you know, it's okay to do what works for me, which is small earring drops. And if I want to do that in the future, you know, I can. And lastly, it's really okay to take breaks, and I would say be careful about setting those boundaries between hobbies that are for you and not for monetization. This is obviously really tricky because, you know, I think being able to make money from art is like really amazing thing, and I know I'm really lucky to do that, but I think oftentimes artists and creatively minded people, art is a really important therapeutic outlet, and it's really important for self-care. And when you try to monetize, you know, almost all of the crafts and things you do for fun, that can take a bit of the playfulness and joy out of it. And I would make sure to still keep things for yourself. I think recently I was like, oh, well, I'm really good at crocheting too, so I should sell these. But then I realized, I don't have to monetize everything, and I can just make crochet things for fun. I think that is all of the questions. I'm sorry this video was so long and I talked for so long. My throat is so dry. I hope in some way that this video was helpful to you. If you have any more questions, leave them in the comments below or send me an email or DM me on Instagram. I would love to give you my advice. I would love for us to chat about it and help you out. Yeah, just don't be afraid to reach out. Don't be a stranger. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Please give me a like if you enjoyed the video. Please subscribe because I post new videos every week. I will see you next week with a new studio vlog, and thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye!